As we remember Dr. Martin Luther King's Jr. life and legacy, we reflect on his vision of unity, and that is the focus of our annual MLK Unity program. Each year, after the 5K run and walk, we come together along with our D9 brothers and sisters and pay homage to his dream. Unfortunately, due to inclement weather, we will not celebrate in person. On behalf of Psi Beta Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, we salute Dr. Martin Luther King's Jr. life and legacy. Thank you.
That call, for giving me that call and trusting me to say something that will hopefully motivate our people to think or to do as Martin did. So thank you again, and I can't say it enough. That call. So let me talk about that call. That most calls that we receive, they're either invitational, informational, or mess. So this particular call, and when people call your phone or send you a text message, depending on if you know the person, you pretty much could gather about what the call is about, if you know the person. So when I received the text message from my dear classmate, my sister, and my friend to contact her, I knew, I had an idea that it was some pleasantries, because we've always been, she's never asked to borrow money. Her husband takes good care of her, and they take care of each other, let me say that. That what I've seen. So I didn't take it that it was a call that I didn't want to return. Some calls you get, you don't want to return. I knew it wasn't a bill collector. And I knew it wasn't one of my cousins that needed help on bail money or something. So it was a call that I wanted to return. So when I called Shirley and she told me what she needed, and first of all, she said, I need a favor. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it's one of those calls. And she told me what she needed. It was a no-brainer. I just wanted to make sure my calendar and everything, I hadn't planned on something that I forgot about. But it was a no-brainer that I wanted to be part of this. And just to tell you a little bit about me and what Martin Luther King, MLK Jr. means to me, I started a nonprofit centered around Martin Luther King Jr. And his 50th anniversary of his assassination. It's called 50 MLK, 50 Men Like King. And 50 men like King that carries on the principles of King, that's willing to give and sacrifice it all for the common good of everyday man. And so what we do is we mentor boys to become a better citizen by giving them positive choices so they won't have to take negative chances. And that's what we do in 50 MLK. So if you have a young boy, a young man of color, ranging from ages to, we try not to put an age stipulation on it because we all could need some help for his mentoring. So if you know a young man that's in need of some mentoring or some manhood or some friendship, go on my site and register or contact me about getting your young boys involved. And if you know a man that will make a good mentor, because I need 50, that will make a good mentor to some boys. Let's partner. Let's stop operating in silos and do some things that's going to better this community, our communities in this state, in this country. So that's what I'm about. So when she called, I don't know if she was familiar with my nonprofit and what I've been doing or what, and a lot of things that God connect the dots. A lot of times people don't have to know everything about you to know that they want you involved with something. So I thank God for that. So that call, as I was saying, some calls could be informational. Some calls can be invitational. And some calls could just be messy calls. Well, I want to talk about the call from God. And when God calls and makes that call to you about doing some things that, as you look over life and you're looking at the news and you look at your communities, some things God's gonna challenge you to do. And it's about you acknowledging that challenge and that call. And in the Bible, God talks about different people that he called to do different things. And one particular call he made was to Abram in Genesis 12, 1 through 5. Now, a lot of these stories I'm going to talk to you about, I'm not going to go through the whole story for the sake of time. But I'm going to give you just an overview about, and hopefully you'll go back and read it and kind of like, look at how it parallels with your life and some of the things that God is asking you or telling you to do, right? So in Genesis 12, 1 through 5, Lord said to Abram, leave your native country, your relatives and your father's family and go. Just go, right? And God had a plan for him. And God knew Abram, by being aligned with God, God showed Abram where he wanted him to go. It was just, he had to be obedient to God and follow the lead and follow where God would have him to go. So God is talking to a lot of us about a lot of things and telling us, hey, you need to go here. You go left, go left, go left, go right, go left. And a lot of times we choose to do something that don't align with God. And there are consequences for it. Another figurehead in the Bible, Moses, in Exodus 3 and 7. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in. And you could be the Moses in today's time. Because you see the affliction of your people that are either in your old neighborhood that you grew up in and left, or in your current city that you live in, or in another city. We are afflicted everywhere. There is no particular place that you can't look or you can't turn on the news or read something and don't see some affliction. So God just told Moses, hey, I've surely seen, just like you've seen, the affliction of my people. So he told Moses, I need you to go. And he have heard the city cry. And parents, mamas, everybody, community leaders are crying out, saying, hey, we need help. And Moses went and returned. So there had to be a city or a place that Moses was familiar with for him to return to it. What are we returning to? Do we leave and forget from which we come? Do we get so much education and so much money in our big house where we just decide, I made it, so they got to get it how they get it? Is that what we do as a people now? So think about that. In Genesis 37, 1 through 11, Joseph, the son of Jacob, Joseph was called by the Lord, by his father, and loved by his father, but hated by his brothers. Can you imagine that? A lot of us are loved and sought out by God, and we love a God that we can't see, but are hated by our brothers because they see the God in us. Martin had something similar. If you think about it, Martin was loved and sought out by his father, but man, his brother hated him. They hated him so much where they killed him. And we'll talk back. We'll catch that up here later. But can you imagine being a man of God, and God has given you some things? In Joseph's case, God giving him the ability to dream and see and show and talk about things how they could be. He was a dreamer, right? And he was loved by his daddy and hated by his blood brothers. And that's a lot of cases. A lot of times when you find men that stand on principle and stand on something and call other men out that are not doing or doing something that's not of God, and able to call them out. A lot of folks don't want to be around you, right? A lot of folks don't want to associate with you, and you lose friends because they don't want to hear. They want you to support them. And that mess phone call, I don't get a lot of phone calls because I don't participate in mess. And so I said the phone calls are informational, invitational, or mess, right? And people are gonna talk to people who gonna listen to the mess, right? And they feel like they could dump it on them. So the informational, invitational, those are the calls you want. So, but Joseph was hated by his brothers just because he was a dreamer and because he was loved by his father. Joshua 1 through 18. Joshua, after 40 years of wandering, can you imagine it's 40 years of just wandering in the desert? God said, okay, now it's time for you. I want you to lead. Why did it take 40 years? God do things in his time. So Joshua was like, okay. And I accept the call to lead. Reluctantly, because he knows what he was dealing with, because he was out there with these people 40 years. So, so now the question becomes, okay, God, I'm going to trust and I'm going to believe in you, and I'm going to lead them to where you tell me to go, that's where I go. The orders of a step of a man, of a righteous man. Judges 6 through 17. Gideon. God called him to rescue Israel. Now you got to understand, Gideon was what we would call today a coward. He was scared. Because Gideon knew he come from the weakest family, and out of the weakest family, he was the weakest person in his family. So he was weak. He considered himself weak. So he was a coward. He was scared. So he had a lot of questions. God, why me, God? Well, God said, why not you? Did I not create you? Did I not make you? If not, do you not believe in who I am and my capabilities? Why not you? And that's the same thing. If you're aligned with him and you know him, he's going to question you, going to challenge you. Why not you? And that was the challenge of the conversation, that call when Martin got, and I'm going to talk about Martin's call here in a minute. So Gideon. So in Judges 13, 1 through 7, he had Samson. They said God knew Samson while he was in the womb, knew everything about him, had positioned him to be, this next person that was going to lead his people. Samson was going to be the man. And Samson came out doing all the things, but Samson wanted to buy what the story said. He got the big head and got comfortable, got relaxed, and he knew that God's hand and his favor was on him. So he was like, hey, I got the hand of God on me. I'm good. And so the things that Samson started to participate in and got relaxed and comfortable, it cost him. It cost him. And it goes back, my grandmama would say, obedience is better than sacrifice. All right. And so as you get older, you learn and you understand what that means. And then there was Ruth. Ruth, she lost her husband, lost the men in the camp, and so it was her and Naomi left to lead and to flee, to go. And Ruth was given, she was sanctioned to follow Naomi, follow the lead of another woman, Naomi, and decided to follow Naomi. And while being obedient and following Naomi, she was able to find her Boaz in another land, not the land she was in. They left and went to another land. And so sometimes God is telling you to move or leave a particular place, and you have more questions than answers. A lot of times you got to just be obedient and go, because he may be having something that you may want. He may be getting ready to do something in your life that if he told you, you couldn't handle it. A lot of times it's just best for us to go and do what it is he have us to do and just accept it. And you'll see it later and be like, oh, this was your plans that you had for me. Trusting in him. And so that was Ruth. And now I want to talk to you about Martin. Martin received the call. Martin saw what was going on in our communities, in our country, and Martin was that man. When they wanted to shake something up, they called Martin. He was that leader. And they called, and Martin talked about the dreams, like Joseph. He dreamed, and he talked about his dreams, and he was hated by his brothers, similar to Joseph, right? But he talked about the dreams, and he even went as far as saying, "I may not get there with you. I've seen the mountaintop. I've seen little black boys and little black girls playing with other little white boys and little white girls. I've seen it. But I may not see it with you. But God has shown me how it could be." What has God shown you? Outside of the inside of your garage going in, so just shutting yourself off from the world. Other than you looking at news and seeing what is going on in your community, just right outside, a couple blocks over, and you decide that that's not my problem. But he's showing you this, right? What is he commissioning you to do to make that change and back at the community that you come from, that you hadn't been back to in 10, 15, 20 years? See, we got to get back to the basics. We see anybody can identify a problem, but what is your solution-driven solution? That's what we got to get back to, and that's what Martin was. Martin understood his assignment, and Martin already knew. He saw the writing on the wall, just like he talked about the dream of seeing little black boys and white boys playing together. He also talked about not getting there with you. What are you willing to die for? This is what God has given me to give you. What are you willing to give up for the betterment of your brother, your community, your family? One thing is for sure, we're going to leave here. What will your legacy say? Not only that, what is your creator? If we are believers in the Bible, in the book, and what we may have to face once we leave here, is he gonna say, "Good and faithful servant, you may enter"? Or will he say, "You didn't do this, I had you to do this. You didn't do this, I had you to do this. And part from me, I don't know you"? I'm going to say this. I had a man in my life that I promised that his legacy would live. Anytime anybody asked me to come up and say anything about encouraging or doing something, Mr. Earl Dishman Jr. Saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Encouraged me to do better. And if it's just one person that you can help, you don't know what that one person or what the capabilities of that person. Now, I'm sure, like me, that Earl Dishman Jr. and Mr. D helped many of other people. I don't know how many have had a platform to be able to actually talk about what he's done in their life. But for me, I could speak what he's done in mine. So I don't want his legacy to die. Just like 20, 30, 40 years from now when I'm away from here. What are they going to say about me? I only hope and pray that my daughters are proud. The young men that I tried to mentor and tried to help, I hope they're proud. I hope my community is proud. I hope people that love and care about me, I hope they're proud. And that's what we want in life. That's what we should want in life. But we should be doing something or taking care of our Father's business. So I challenge you, all of you that's under the sound of my voice, I challenge you. What is God telling you? What is your purpose? Why are you here? What is your God's purpose? And figure it out, and let's be about his business of making this place a better place. That's what Martin was about. He went from here to there about making this place better. So we're going to celebrate him. We're going to be about his business. That's what we got to be about, making this place better. So I challenge all my fraternity brothers, all the Divine Nine. I know we get out here on service day and we go out and we clean up a community and pick up a little trash here and there. But what are we doing? What are we putting in these kids? What are we doing? We're seeing these kids killing and picking up these guns and killing each other and doing things in our community. What are we doing, y'all? Do nothing, say nothing, expect nothing. If we're going to put hope back in our community, and hope to me is having opportunity plus education and exposure. Having hope is H, opportunity O, plus purpose, education, and exposure. That's how we put hope back in our community. We got to give these kids an opportunity. We got to give them positive choices so they won't take negative chances. If not us, who? If not now, when? You made the decision. I thank y'all for allowing me to come and talk. I hope I said something to light a fire under our people. Shirley, again, thank you for selecting a person from the poorest county in the nation. And all those accolades that was read or talked about me, it was just through God. Just through God. And Mr. Dishman, I'll give him a lot of credit because I think he was sent by God to make sure I get it right. And I'm still working on me. God's still working on me. But I thank him for just allowing me to be in this space today. God bless you. And like I said again, I hope I said something or done something to inspire somebody to do some more. Thank you.